Ahoy there, folks. I'm Captain Benzie, and welcome back to another video for Influence, the brand new space economic simulator MMO being developed by Unstoppable Games. Influence actually goes into global launch tomorrow, the 27th of June 2024. I am super excited to see this go live and have more people jump into it and experience this game. Now, there is some controversy around it. Naturally, it uses NFT and cryptos, and people are wary of those things. I've done videos at length talking about why I don't see that as a bad thing in this particular instance, but I do still get comments on pretty much every video I put out saying, oh, it's got NFTs, therefore it must be a scam. No, I've done my research. I've been playing this now for a couple of months. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but let's have a look at the brand new trailer for the launch tomorrow, talk about some of the new exciting things that we see in this, and just talk about what this game could mean going forward. If you do enjoy this video, please let me know, hit like, drop a comment down below telling me what you're most excited about, and consider joining my Discord so that you can join me in Influence and experiencing this awesome game for yourself. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the trailer, right? This is a live reaction for me. I'm watching this now for the first time, so let's see what we spot. Now, first things first, what we have on screen now, I have no idea what this is. This is not one of the main buildings that we've seen in construction and Influence. We've got a big tower. We've got what looks to be almost some kind of organic growth coming out of the back of it. This is, I'm assuming, sort of not in-game footage. This is just cinematic to showcase where the game could be going. Because remember, live is not the end. There are 2 hull phases already planned, which does go into piracy and combat in the 3rd phase once people have got themselves a bit more set up through phase 1 and 2. But anyway, let's hit play, see where this goes.
We have finally arrived in Adalia.
Finally arrived in Adalia. If you haven't already watched my video on the lore of Influence, it is such a cool bit of space sci-fi. It is basically everything goes wrong, and you are now thrust into this cold, harsh universe trying to eke out a living, essentially on an asteroid belt, because, oh damn, all the planets are utterly uninhabitable.
Our new home.
Right there, epic, unique, real stakes. And I know that sounds like marketing jargon, but let's untap each of those words one by one. Epic, yes, I genuinely think it is. We've got an entire asteroid belt that you can go to here, that you can explore and set up your own base of operations. The fact that your crews are NFTs, which means they can be traded, they are 100% unique. Every single member of the crew is completely unique, and they will carry their stories with them. This means that when someone joins your crew, you can write story for them. And as they do things with your crew, they build a history. When the time comes that you decide you don't want that person on your crew anymore and you replace them, you put them onto the market and off they go looking for other work, then someone else hires them. They continue that story. To me, that is pretty epic. That is also pretty unique. We're also looking at a game that uses a lot of real world science, whether we're talking about the astrophysics of actual spaceflight in this, or whether we're talking about the different minerals, materials that you're going to be refining, extracting, and manufacturing. It is all very much based on real world science, which I love to see, and is something you don't get often enough in this kind of game, I think. Finally, real stakes. Yes, when you are extracting resources and selling them on the market, you are using actual cryptocurrency to do so, and it works both ways. This is the kind of game where the stuff that you are creating, the profit that you are making, is going to be convertible very much back into your ability to play the game, kind of like how EVE Online has the ability for you to buy Plex, that kind of thing. It's a really cool system. I do genuinely really like it. I just spent a brief moment talking about this because, again, it is a point of controversy with some folks. Influence is not a free-to-play game, nor is it a subscription model. It is a pay-per-action game. This means that if you have limited actions, you don't need to spend much. If you want to be doing more in the game, you spend more. That allows you to have more things going on and thus increase your profits, but also increasing your risk. If your costs are bigger, then your risk is bigger. If your costs are small, your risk is small. And you can use this as a way of setting up industry. And the more industry that you can do, the more profit that you can eke out and carve for yourself, then the more capability you have of paying for those actions. I genuinely like this system. I think it is an intriguing and interesting way to look at it. I hope it pans out. It might work. It might not. We will have to see. Look at some of the buildings there. I know it's fairly simplistic graphics, but I love the sort of, again, the real world sci-fi. This is hard sci-fi. Those buildings that we've just seen, let's just scroll back to those. These are not your sort of crazy ass, like big sci-fi buildings. Like this, is that the factory or is that the shipyard? I think that's the shipyard. You can see it's all very angular. It's real. It's powered by solar panels. You've got all of this sort of infrastructure around it, which makes it look real. It is believable. It's not your sleek, curvy, overdeveloped sci fi. It's grounded. It is functional. It is very much in theme with the story of Influence. Same goes with the spacecraft. This is a small transport in space at the moment. Again, it is angular. It's not sleek, over-designed sci-fi. It is functional. It is something that has been built by crews on an asteroid in order to eke out the best they can with the resources they have. We're not looking at, giant floating cathedrals or anything here. We are looking at spacecraft designed for a role, and they are functional in that role. And I really love that aesthetic. Look at how big that universe is. Every single dot on that is an asteroid that you or I can travel to. We can start to colonize and set up industry on. That is exceptional. Interesting. I've no idea what that ship is. That's not one of the ships that I've seen in Influence at the moment. Is that something new that's coming? Is this gameplay? Or is this just, again, sort of sci-fi cinematic? I don't honestly know. So far, the devs have been really good at what they've shown is stuff that you can do. Even the cinematic stuff they've shown before is tied in with the storyline, and it's still linked into what you can do in-game. Yes, it's a cinematic, but it's tied functionally into the gameplay. And that ship looks intriguing, and the way it's flying over the asteroid again. Some more of the planets there. You saw asteroids. You saw an asteroid there being lit up as it was being prospected. You saw some more of the buildings. For space nerds and strategy lovers, this game will suck you in deep. Absolutely. If you are big into strategy, this is going to be a great game for you. It looks really simplistic at surface level, but the more you delve in, the more complex it becomes, the more you realize that you are relying on other people, and therefore you need to find people you can trust. You need to find ways to carve out your own profits and be successful. And you can backstab other people. You can set up your own markets. You can destroy markets. If you wanted to undercut everything, if you wanted to buy up an entire market and relocate it, that is something you can do in Influence. There is so much going on in this. Here we are. This is a screen here looking at the extraction interface, which looks like it's been jazzed up a little bit for global launch. I really like the sort of the color schemes they've gone for here and how they've just sort of cleaned up the UI a bit. We've got information on the right, which is really interesting as well. Everything you need to know about the asteroid that they're on and ones that they're looking at. Plus, you've got the extraction interface here. You can see they're pulling out uraninite. Which presumably they'll be using for some kind of, process going forward. On the left side, you can see that there are core samples and core analysis ongoing. We've got tiernite extraction and core samples going on there ready to sort out, along with plenty more extractions otherwise. And notice that those are all real-world objects. Apatite, bitumen, methane, and feldspar. Not your, sci-fi space rocks. Genuine industry. There's the extractor, still my favorite looking building in the game. I just love it. I love the color scheme. I love the simplistic design. Oh, I'm going to be building these all over asteroids everywhere. More of the analysis you can see here as you're using the overview here and prospecting this asteroid here. They've highlighted calcite. You can see where the deposits are. That's going to be a good place to set up some extractors if you're looking for calcite. Something very true to me because calcite allows you to get the materials you're going to need for cement, and everyone needs cement. That was kind of my business operations in the pre-launch. Probably what I'll be looking to do going into launch as well. Game, because yes, again, it is all real world science. Everything here is based in reality. Really nice setup here as well. We've got 6 warehouses, 3 on either side, 2 extractors in the middle around a habitat. We've got a bioreactor, a refinery, a spaceport, a space yard. a shipyard, sorry, a factory, and we've got a market. Everything there that you need to kind of get off the ground, plus a transport off to the side ready to move some of that stuff around. Very standard setup. Is everyone going to want this kind of setup? Not exactly. I've done a video talking about what kind of setup is going to be best for you and which buildings you should be looking at. But this is the kind of generic does everything. So whether you are doing that on your own or whether you and some friends are working together to create that setup, yeah. There's your market. Just going to pause quickly. So again, we can see things like sulfur dioxide, sulfuric acid, pyroxene, deionized water, oxygen, coffinite, steel. It's all real world stuff. If you see hydrogen, you can get that from water. If you want to make water, you can use hydrogen and oxygen to make it. This kind of thing. They are all functions, all different ways of doing things in the game. And it's going to be up to you to figure out which way is going to be best to make the most profit for what you're trying to do. Full-on market information there. I've just skipped a little bit too far. Again, I've done videos breaking all of this down, but the market screen is really in-depth, really useful for seeing the buying and purchase history of materials on the market, so you can work out whether you want to sell it at the current price, whether you want to put the price a little bit higher, whether you want to buy stuff off this market and translocate it somewhere else in order to make a profit that way. Lots of cool ideas that you can go with. My wife's going to leave me if I mention influence to her one more time. We've all been there. And I genuinely think that influence, kind of like EVE Online, is one of those games. It's one of those games that if you are into this kind of thing, you are going to be really into this because it goes so deep into this one very specific niche thing. And if that is your specific niche, you are going to love this to the point of obsession. There's a Dahlia Prime. I love this shot. It's used in quite a few of the screenshots and bits of promotional material. I just think that's one of the coolest bits of artwork in modern sci-fi gaming. Genuinely, I genuinely, that is right up there with a lot of the Homeworld 3 stuff. I love it. More of the buildings, nice zoom in there. Would have been nice to see them go on a slightly higher graphic setting than they've got. But again, you can see the form and function of all the buildings. These are not over-designed sci-fi. They are straight up form via functionality. Again, more of the information here. We're looking at the flight screens. More of the ships. That skipped way too fast through where there's some really flight stuff there. We've got the asteroids, more of the ships there, transports in space, some of the bigger ships, hiring crews. There is just so much there. Again, if we scroll back just a bit, see if I can stop on the actual screen. There. Real world flight mechanics. Actual spaceflight mechanics. Here it's doing a simulation with onboard cargo and propellant because obviously the more your ship weighs, the more fuel it's going to need in order to get from A to B. Notice it's not a straight line across. Notice it curves with it. Also notice that the destinations do move. This is an asteroid belt and all of these asteroids have their own unique orbits. This means that an asteroid is going to have a time when it is closer to your current position and a time when it is further away. And planning for that is going to make a big difference because if you look at the timescales on these, they can be huge. Straight at the bottom here on the right, departure details, plus 311.1 hours, arrive 541.5 hours, using a lot of propellant to get there. That's not going to be able to make that in one journey because it's 315% propellant. You've got departure delays there because they're clearly not launching out of their own spaceport in order to do so. There's a lot to consider just in relocating asteroid. If you want to go from asteroid to asteroid, do you go direct or do you hop en route? Do you stop to refuel? Maybe doing some runs there as well, like dropping cargo off or picking up cargo, making some sales and some purchases as you go. How do you want to do that? And of course, which asteroids you actually take, because of how they orbit, is going to matter. Like in real world science, one of the big problems that we have with the concept of colonizing Mars is that there are times of the year where Mars is literally on the opposite side of the sun to us, right? Which means it is at a massive distance away. If you want to launch to Mars, you want Earth and Mars to be as close as possible, or rather, you launch just before Earth and Mars get as close as possible, and you launch in the direction of where Mars is going to be by the time you get there. That kind of complex geometry and mathematics, it's brilliant. And I love that this is what Influence is actually doing. I've not done asteroid hopping in Influence yet, but considering that is a big goal of mine, I would like to ultimately own my own asteroid and have my own industry set up on my own unique bit of rock in Adalia. Yeah, I'm going to have to get to grips with that. And there is so much to contend with there, so much to consider. I can't wait for that challenge. The ADHD brain in me is just foaming at the mouth for that challenge. And there it is. Influence launching tomorrow on June 27th, 2024. I am super excited. It is browser based, so anyone can play it. You don't need an amazing graphics card for this. You can play it on pretty much a potato work computer. You can play it on a gaming rig. You can probably even, I've not tried, but you could probably even play this on your phone with the right browser settings and thing, though it might be a bit of a tough one to, tap into absolutely everything. But hey, it's worth giving a go, right? That's what I would say there. And what was our tagline here? Build, mine, trade, and explore. Yes, mining is a big part of the game. Minerals are not infinite in this. Like, if you look at a game like, say, EVE Online, then ultimately minerals are theoretically infinite in that if you clear a belt now, it's gone, but come the next reset, it will respawn, and thus you get to mine it again. Whereas in Influence, once an asteroid has actually been harvested, that is it. Building, on the other hand, again, is going to be one of those things that you take those minerals, you then refine them, you manufacture them, you turn them into things you're going to be building using those resources to construct your own empire. Trading is then going to be vital, whether you are trying to do every part of the industrial process yourself or whether you are focusing on one specific part of the industrial process and therefore trading off, buying in your resources and trading out your outputs, or whether you are just going to try and do as much of it as possible and then trade the outputs yourself. Plus exploring the belt. And this is just phase one. Phase one is just people getting set up with their own industry, getting their footing in the game, getting asteroids colonized, and getting out into the Adalian belt. Phase two is going to ramp that up with more like research and more variability in industry so that people can specialize more or branch out more depending which path they go down. And then the third phase is going to start adding things like piracy and combat to the game as well, just because, again, we've got limited resources. There need to be other ways to kind of influence, but on tish, and actually affect all of that. I am so excited. This launches tomorrow, folks. So if you are at all interested, get onto influence.io, give the game a go. Jump in with a few quid, just try it out, see what you think. Watch some of my videos, watch some of the other excellent content creators out there, join the Influence Discord and meet what is an incredibly passionate community. Talk with them. Rather than going, oh no, it's an NFT game. It looks really cool, but it's an NFT game and I've been told that's bad, ergo I'm just going to avoid it. No, actually look into this. Actually speak to some people who have played it and see what you think. Do some research and make your own judgment rather than just going, NFTs and crypto bad. Yeah, I have no interest in crypto trading, crypto exchanges, that kind of thing. I've got no interest in Bored Ape JPEGs and all the crap that Ubisoft and other gaming companies tried to pull. Influence, on the other hand, it looks like they had a concept for a game and then Web3 tech, blockchain tech actually made that possible for them. Rather than, hey, this new technology's arrived, how can we monetize it? With Influence, it very much feels like we want to make this, how do we do it? Oh, this new technology has just enabled the vision that we have, and that's why I find this exciting. Anyway, folks, if you do jump into Influence, let me know. I would love to hear from you all how you get on with the game. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you all in Adalia.